What is going on, my guys? Welcome back to the channel. We are back over on ARK Survival Ascended. So I have spent some time on the new Aberration map, been playing it a bit, and I've decided to do a little rat hole video, some of the best rat holes I've found. They are going to be pretty good, but first off, you need to be aware of how many mesh holes there are in this map. Be really careful not to build in these. I'm pretty sure you're going to get banned. Wildcard's probably going to fix these very soon. But yeah, if you're looking to live on this map long term, just be aware that someone might pop into your base. There's literally mesh holes all over the entire map. Okay, so here is our first rat hole, and it's funny because I just mentioned the mesh, but I wouldn't say this is the mesh. It's probably not like the most legit spot, but it actually has an entrance. It doesn't go out anywhere, and it's pretty freaking OP. So yeah, this looks like it's nothing, and then you just walk in here. You end up in this pretty big room, and the reason I mean, it does look a little bit sus, but there's been other spots like this on other maps that lasted the entire time, so you never really know. Opens up into this massive room, so pretty absolutely insane spot. We'll see, have to see if this gets patched, but if you have tech, you throw a transmitter in here, you are chilling, dude. You're safe. There is this spot. You can still fit through here, so people could throw probably like turtles and stuff in here if they fix cryopods. But yeah, so first spot, absolutely OP. Let's move on to number 2 here. Okay, so here is the next spot, Rathole number 2, 4810. So this is another little bit of an interesting one. We're in the portal here, and there is a little hole that goes all the way down. So if you are built up or have tech or something like this, it could be a really good spot for you. There's this really long pathway down. You could put turrets all in, and then there's actually a pretty decent sized space here at the bottom. You can set a cliff platform down. You got a whole nice base here. You can set turrets up along that entire path. Would be really, really good for like some later end game players. If you're playing solo or duo, you can set up some pretty sweet stuff in here. And yeah, that's number 2. Okay, so here we are at number 3. This one is pretty good. 4918. We're again still in portal. If you come right up to the roof here, there's this little crack, and it opens into a pretty big space. And this wouldn't be a great spot, except there's almost no other entrances. So this is a ton of space. You can put multiple floors here and put cliff platforms. These don't go anywhere. There's only that one entrance on the top, and there's this tiny little entrance on the other side, but it can be pretty easily covered. You can see how big this actually is. You could put multiple cliff platforms in here. Pretty great. So there's this tiny little entrance right here too. You can fit like a human in, and that's pretty much it. And then that other entrance we came in, but also a really good spot. Maybe I will end up using this someday. We'll have to see. Okay, boys. Number 4. This one is not the greatest, but I feel like it's pretty hidden and decent. It's at 4442. You're over here in the roof of the blue zone. And so basically you just run up right to the roof. And there is this tiny little hole here. There we go. So there we are. So pretty small spot, but could be decent for a starter base. And there is this other side you can come in through, but you have to crouch all the way through and kind of just stumble through it. So could actually be a pretty decent starter spot. A lot of these spots that are hard to get to are going to be more viable once Extinction and other maps like with Bloodstalkers come out. So they have dinos that can get up here easier versus having to use a rock drake or like a tech suit or something like that. Still a pretty decent starter base location. Okay, so here we are at Rathole 5. If you remember in the old ARK, this is at 5251, these metal pillars were hollow. You could go inside, and that's not really the case very often, but it is right here. There's this small entrance. You come in through here, and then we're inside of the pillar. There's some room right here, but this isn't really what I'm talking about. Up here on this next level, it gets pretty spacious, and the entrances are really tiny. So there's a little slit on this side and the other side, and it opens up into this big chamber, which would be really, really OP. If you put like some chandelier towers here, really hard to raid this. Lots of room in here. And really not, the entrances are pretty tiny. Throw some cliff platforms down here, it'll be a really good base spot. Lots of room for raising and everything like that. Probably just need a transmitter and then you should be good to go. You just put turrets all along this entrance here, and even in this this little gap, you will be chillin'. Alright boys, next rat hole. This one is pretty small, more of a starter base location. It's at 5260 up here. It's in the blue zone, just on the underside of one of these bridges. So the location of this is actually what makes it pretty good. It's easy to get to and it's relatively hidden. I would be surprised if anybody comes looking around here. You could throw a smithy, some fabricators, some vaults up here. You just have room for all of that. And you could get up here even with some climbing picks or like a Ravager. You just come up right here to the roof and there's a little pocket up on these roots that you could throw some foundations on, get a couple storages. Pretty decent starter spot with not a great amount of room, but still good. Alright boys, so here we are. Next rat hole, 4764. This one is one of my favorites on the whole map. So it was around in the old Aberration, but they've changed it a bit. It's on the underside of one of these plateaus. You come up here, and there's actually a good amount of room right here, but this is what I'm talking about. It goes back in here. So if you remember in the old ARK, this was actually a tunnel. You could crawl all the way through, but they've changed that. So you have like all this outside area for a crafting station, and then this area here. Look how long this crouch is. It's about 5 or 6 seconds. You have to crouch here. If you put turrets there, really hard to get through. Then it opens up into like this smaller room. You could throw all your really good loot, your vault, your other stuff in here and keep it nice and safe. And then people have to come through this entire entrance crawling. Pretty good spot. If you throw some heavy turrets in there, really hard to raid. And all this outside area for like a crafting station or something like that. Okay boys, next one, 4463. This is up in the roof of the blue zone, kind of around where all these plateaus are that people build. It's hidden in these roots. So these roots are pretty hollow throughout the entire map. So it has two entrances, this small one and then the bigger one on the other side. But it actually is relatively hidden and gives you a good amount of space. Throw a cliff platform on here and a pretty decent base spot. Plus you're really close to wood and metal and other resources, so that will be pretty freaking nice for like a small solo base. Alrighty boys, so we're over in the radiation zone 7944. I'm only going to include one radiation rat hole this time because they're not really viable at this point in the game. Once Genesis comes out and exosuits, stuff like that, they'll be a little bit more easy to build in. So if you remember, this is where the red cave is, and in the last ARK I had a pretty insane rat hole right about here. They have taken that out, but they have added another one that is semi-decent. So it's just up here on the right, and it seems like they've actually built it specially for people to put bases in. I'm having a bit of trouble finding it. That should tell you how hidden it is. Oh, it's just up here. Okay, yeah. Okay, so here is the little entrance. And it actually has a little nice tunnel. It goes all the way back here into a bigger room. You're going to have to be creative about building this, but really good spot for like a solo. If you can get tech, this will be pretty hard to raid with a good amount of room. Once, I'll probably do some more radiation scouting for rat holes later on, but not right now. So let's go to this next one here. All right, so this next one is at the Fertile Lake. This was kind of a repeat from ARK Survival Evolved. They just redid the same thing. It's in one of these vents here. I gotta put my GCM on. There we go. So there's the Fertile Lake. You come up here. There's a little gap in this metal. And underneath, there's actually a pretty good amount of space. You come in here. Kind of like a little cave. Pretty big entrance, but still fairly hidden. Okay, boys, so here's the next rat hole, 2461. So this one's pretty hard to find, I'll be honest. It's in the middle of all these leaves. You just come back here to the end and then go down into this little spot. So there's some decent room in here. Pretty hard to see with all these leaves, but some good room, and you're relatively safe. The only way people can really come in is from upwards, so just be aware of that. But going to give you a lot of space back here, and also relatively hidden. People aren't really going to be scouting this a ton, just because it's kind of scary to scout that if there's turrets or other stuff like that. It's over here by this pillar, and then all of these crystals as well. Alright, so here's the next one, bonus Rathole, 3362. So this one is a little bit sketchy, but I think that it might be worth it. Let's turn this on. Okay. There we go, that's what we needed. Alright, so it's up here in the very top of the roof. You can see it opens up. So you need to be careful in this one. There is a mesh hole right in the rat hole, but I bet they'll fix this very soon. So it comes all the way back here. Even farther, all the way back here. So as long as you're a little bit creative about building this, it could be really good. Well, yeah, don't go down there either, that's the mesh. But could give you a lot of space, and it's fairly difficult to raid. You can build all this out with cliff platforms or like triangle foundations. And then if you put a tower right here on the cliff's edge, it'll be pretty good. Yeah, don't fall into the abyss. Right, here we are at the next one, bonus rat hole number 2. So this one is pretty popular. Most people know about it. It's at 4235. It's pretty close to Portal. I wouldn't really recommend building in this one unless you're just like looking to start up. Then it might be okay. They've actually made it easier to attack than it was in the last ARK, which is kind of weird. So here it is. Yeah, you can basically just build up to this one or use a Ravager and zip line climb up to it. Some decent amount of space in here, and there's metal nearby, which is pretty nice. Okay, so this is going to be the last one. It is in the radiation zone as well, and it is, I wasn't really going to include it, but I thought it was pretty cool. It's just up in this cliff, kind of in a hidden spot. There's a decent amount of room in here, and it almost is like it's really hard to see from down below, which is why I thought it was cool here. Okay, let's gosh, my game's like bugged or something with creative mode. So yeah, you can't really see it very well, and then it opens up right there. So it's this little tiny slit to open up to that rat hole. So that is going to be it for the rat hole video. Hope you guys are excited for app. I got a new series cooking up. We'll be releasing shortly. Let me know what you guys are thinking of the game. We'll have to catch you guys in the next one. Peace, my dudes.